Welcome back to Yoshi Entertainment, everybody. So, just recently, there was a trial that took place back in 2019. Bun B and his wife were unfortunately victims of a home invasion. A young man by the name of DeMonte Jackson, who was actually 15 at the time, because this was 5 years ago, held his wife at GUN point while in their home. Now, apparently, what happened was his wife went to answer the door because she thought it was a delivery, a package delivery. She opens the door. The intruder came in, demanding that she give him valuables. She panicked. She was afraid. He heard something going on. I believe he was upstairs, if I'm not mistaken, and he came down there to try and help her. He took the stand. He was talking about how upset he was, how angry it made him that all of this happened to her. You got to understand from the perspective of a man who just wants to protect his wife. He was in a different room when all this took place. All he could think about is trying to get to her, knowing that the guy had his wife at weapon point, if you will. Anything could have happened. The weapon could have accidentally went off. Things could have went very differently. And I think the moment that he broke down is because he was upset that he could not be there in that moment. Like, of course, he was there to help her and protect her. Thank God he was. But it made him angry seeing her in that state, seeing her so afraid that she couldn't even communicate what was going on. And that hurt him. Not being able to control those few moments right before he got there, where she could have actually been shot in that moment. Like I said, nobody wants the person that they love, somebody that they love, in that kind of predicament. It's the lack of control of the situation. Like I said, I'm just putting myself in his shoes, trying to imagine what he felt. So like I said, I can understand why he would break down in tears like that. And I do not, let me repeat, do not think that makes him less of a man. If anything, I think it makes him stronger. When he was on the stand speaking his piece, he said, and I quote, "She can't communicate, and I just get angry all over again because she didn't deserve this. She didn't ask for this." End quote. He also said, and I quote, "Just the idea of seeing my wife in this state, hearing her voice in this state," the artist said, in per video shared by ABC News affiliate KTRK in Houston. "I mean, I'm her husband. That's my primary job, is protecting her, making her feel safe." And I gotta applaud Bun B for that, quite frankly, because in today's society, people have their priorities all in the trash. The way they view people is wrong. They do not have value placed on other people's lives, and the ways they are supposed to hold people around them, especially the very important people, in the regard that they are supposed to, they do not. I don't see a whole lot of people talking about this kind of stuff. Like I said, I gotta applaud him for doing what he did to protect his wife. He really took that protector job as a husband and a man seriously, and I gotta applaud him for that because I don't always see it, sadly. Now, clearly she cared just as much about him as he did about her, because the moment he got down there and the guy saw him, he fled allegedly, and Bun B was basically like, "I'm going after him. I'm going to confront him," and she said she did not want him to confront that man because she was afraid of what could happen. Even though she had just had a weapon in front of her face, she did not want him to go after that guy because she didn't want his life to be in danger. But he said, "No, I gotta do what I gotta do," because again, he was just trying to protect himself and his wife. He went after the guy. They exchanged some gunshots, if you will, in the garage, allegedly. And then he was able to catch the guy and unmask him, but the guy got away. And then he ended up going to a hospital where he was eventually arrested. Now, another reason why I think he did go after the person is because, now, he is a celebrity. He works in the industry. He has for a while. Whether people think this is odd for me to say or not, it's the truth. A lot of times, celebrities have stalkers, or sometimes people who wish them ill will for whatever reasons. It could very well be somebody that they know, or somebody who is affiliated to or related to somebody that they know or they don't know. That is another reason why I think he wanted to know who was behind that mask. And he even said himself he wanted to know if it was somebody who he knew personally, or someone who knew someone he knew personally. Now, that young man, who was a minor at the time, pled guilty back in 2019 of 2 counts of aggravated robbery and 1 count of burglary. He was sentenced to 40 years in prison just a few days ago. Now, some people were saying they felt like 40 years was a bit excessive, for just a robbery, and that no one was murdered at the same time. How can you tell that to the man whose wife was in danger, whose own life was in danger? Now, I will admit that I think 40 years was a lot, but at the same time, we don't know who this young man is, what relation he has to Bun B, or whatever was going on in his mind that, caused him to do this. And for all we know, if they just gave him a slap on the wrist just because he didn't actually shoot anybody, he could get out, track him down, and do this again. And the result could be even worse. So I feel like that's one of those stuck in between a rock and a hard place kind of situations. But a lot of people felt like 40 years was a bit excessive. Although it is easy to say that when it wasn't you and your spouse that was the victims of this situation. Now, some people were saying 40 years was excessive because they felt like the young man had just fallen on hard times. So he came up in a hard moment. He had a hard life. Life was cruel to him, and he was just trying to steal some stuff to sell because he needed the money to make it by. But again, other people were saying that's no excuse, because there have been plenty of people who've had to struggle, scrape by, and almost be completely broke or homeless, and they still did not do something like this. Now, a lot of people, which was kind of odd to me, were mad at Bun B. But no, I said odd, but understandably so. Some people, a lot of people actually, were bringing up the fact that Bun B was one of those same people in the industry, as I've talked about on this channel, who made destructive music, poison, that was the word that they were using, which I've used on this channel to also describe that kind of music, marketing it to black and brown young men, the same kind of music, the gangster rap type, that had them going out into the streets, shooting up each other, putting each other in the graves, or ending up in prison. And they said, now how can you sit up here and be upset like this, but you weren't upset when you were writing those lyrics, those foul, destructive, heinous, criminal type lyrics, marketing them to the young black and brown men. And then when something like this happens to you and yours, now you're upset. That's what these people were saying. And I have to admit, they have a point there. I'm not saying that he deserved to have this happen to him. I would never say that. Although we've got to include everybody's input. We've got to listen to what everybody is saying, the points that they are making. Once again, this is like the situation with Takeoff. Everybody was saying he was such a good young man, but why are we boo-hooing and putting people on shirts whenever we were buying music that glorified the violence that put him on the shirt, so to speak? And I talked about this whenever that first happened. Even the comedian Schuler King was talking about this on his channel. We must stop glorifying violence just because the person who is writing the lyrics, rapping the lyrics, singing the lyrics are black, and then getting shocked whenever violence happens in the community. Now, another black community issue that came up concerning this situation, we've also talked a little bit about this on this channel, is people calling this man a snitch for trying to protect his wife and identifying the person that almost had both of them in a casket after a home invasion. Only black people would say something stupid like that. Only some ninjas. And it's sad that is so on brand with our raggedy community and our raggedy community values. As this person said here, people who say stop snitching just want to be able to freely terrorize anybody and be protected from facing consequences. And I do agree, because 98% of the people who say that, they weren't born in the hood. They didn't come up in the ghetto. They didn't have to live the gangster life. They just say that because they want to protect abusers and criminals in the community. And it's no coincidence. Y'all can call me whatever you want for saying this, that the guy is black, because if the guy was not black, y'all wouldn't be saying don't snitch. Again, this is only stupid stuff that we do in the community. Going along with that, or y'all are just trying to take a black man down after that black man did stuff himself to get himself in trouble, taken down. Like I said, a lot of people in the black community have adopted this don't snitch rule from the streets because they want to be able to do whatever ungodly actions they want to without getting checked, which is just disgusting. Another person on YouTube said whoever called him a snitch is a clown. His family was in danger, and I second that. Clowns calling people a snitch for trying to protect themselves, for doing the right thing. And we wonder why we have so many unsolved mysteries in the black community. Who shot Ray Ray? We don't know, because the person who saw it didn't want to say anything because they were either threatened into silence or this stupid street code that they have adopted, like I said, to keep people from doing the right thing. He ain't a snitch. It just shows how trash the community is getting. Another person says on YouTube, and I've been saying that, how for the trash the community and the morals of the community is and always has been. Another person said that this man ran up in his house and placed a blicky, if you will, at his wife's head. The young man is blessed to still be here for real, which is the truth. Bun B could have shot him. He actually would have been in the right in that situation because he was invading his home, his property. Instead of some of these people being a stupid clown and saying that Bun B was snitching, they need to be telling that young man to thank God that he's even alive to be sentenced to begin with. Now, this person on YouTube reminded us what the actual definition of snitching is, which is when you participate in a crime and you tell on everybody. Testifying against someone who broke into your home is not snitching. A crime was committed against him and his wife, and he identified the criminal, point period blank. People were agreeing that he should have told the truth, that it was the right thing to do. Another person on YouTube said that anybody saying that he was snitching on the stand is a part of the problem in our community. That's why there's so many unsolved unalivings right now. Bun B didn't snitch, another person said. He testified against a stankin' behind criminal who put his family in danger. If anybody who thinks differently, that's what she said. Another person pointed out, once again, to be the main people who ain't never had to come up on the streets, who ain't never been in the streets talking about street code when it comes to testifying on the stand and telling the truth. Again, it goes along with that, don't speak out against another black person or tell the truth when it comes to another black person just because you are a black person mentality. And that's for the absolute garbage. If you're out here breaking laws and committing crimes within the community, you need legal repercussions. Other people were basically saying, you can call it whatever you want to. If you want to be ignorant and illiterate and label it snitching, even though that's not what snitching is, you go right ahead, because we can't control your choice to be ignorant or illiterate. We could just try to enlighten you. And why are we even still using that kind of terminology when people are just telling the truth on the stand anyways? But you can call it whatever you want to. It didn't matter to them because they're still going to do the right thing. All these people collectively were saying, we're still going to tell the truth because when it comes to us, our well-being and the well-being of somebody we care about, our families, that is what's more important to us. Doing the right thing, protecting the people that we care about the most, and other people, because other people that we don't know don't deserve to be getting hurt and having criminals do things to them that's not right as well. Also making sure that people who are out here doing things that's not right get the consequences of their actions, just like everybody else should or would. Now, one thing somebody posted that was really serious concerning this, and I noticed that a lot of people, whenever they're talking about all this stuff, there's always a few people here and there who will remind everybody about this. While people are up here talking about he snitched because this guy almost shot his wife, invaded his home, put his safety at risk. All these people talking about how hard they are and what they'll do, street code this, street credit that. But all that went to the trash, and they weren't all that hard whenever it came to certain individuals who committed heinous crimes, who unalived people in the community. Now all of a sudden, where's the street credit? Where's the street code? Where's the, we'll do X, Y, Z? Why haven't they done it to some people? But they'll bully other black people for telling the truth, for speaking on the stand against them when they've done something wrong, when they've broken the law. See how raggedy our community is? How not unified it is, especially on a lot of things, in a lot of situations. I just wanted to throw that out there. One more thing I wanted to throw out there and talk about, just some food for thought, if you will. I'm not surprised at the time that he got, considering he was sentenced in Texas. And I'm also not surprised that it took 5 years for them to sentence him. I don't care what anybody says. It does not take that long for that to happen. I don't care what excuse anybody uses. I honestly believe, and I could be wrong, I could be very wrong, but I honestly believe that they stalled for that long so that they could try him as an adult. Remember, he was a minor when he committed this crime. I honestly believe that they waited on purpose. Like I said, people can say, well, they had other things to do, blah, 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 this. excuses to me. I honestly believe that those are all excuses. So if anybody wants to be upset that he got 40 years, maybe y'all should look at the, and I quote, justice system, end quote, for why that happened. Anyways, y'all let me know what y'all think about all of this down in the comments below respectfully. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Y'all all have a very blessed, beautiful, and safe day.